जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी गोपी जना वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदन व्रज जनरंजना यमुनातीरावनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे जय जगन्नाथ जय बालदेवा जय सुभद्रमा जय गौरानिताय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय जय गुरुदेव गुरुदेव जय जय गुरुदेव जय कृष्ण भगवान की जय हो जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की जय हो गौर निताई की जय हो श्री प्रभुपाद की जय महाराज की जय ऑल द वैष्णवास अनंत कोटि वैष्णविंद की जय हो हरे कृष्ण ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
नारायणं नमस्कृत्य
नारायणं नमस्कृत्य
नरं चैव नरोत्तमं
नरं चैव नरोत्तमं
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं
ततो जयमुदीरये
ततो जयमुदीरयेत्
नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु
नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
भगवते उत्तम श्लोके
भगवते उत्तमश्लोके
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी.
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी.
So reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 16. 16th chapter. The title is King Chitraketu Meets the Lord. Text number 56. Ubhayam samrita punsa
उभयं संवृता पुंसा
prasvapa pratibodayo
प्रस्वापा प्रतिबोधयो
anveti vyati vicheta
अन्वेति व्यातिरिच्येत
taj 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 jnanam brahma tatparam.
तज्ज्ञानं ब्रह्म तत्परम्.
Ubhayam smrita punsa
उभयं स्मृता पुंसा
prasvapa pratibodayo
प्रस्वापा प्रतिबोधयो
anveti vyati vicheta
अन्वेति व्यातिरिच्येत
taj jnanam brahma tatparam.
तज्ज्ञानं ब्रह्म तत्परम्.
Okay, translation. We go to translation. Acha, we have to see. So translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Oh yeah, this is good. Okay. Okay. If one's dreams during sleep are merely subject matters witnessed by the super soul, how can the living entity who is different from the super soul remember the activities of dreams? The experiences of one person cannot be understood by another. Therefore, the knower of the facts, the living entity, who inquires into the incidents manifested in the dreams and wakefulness, is different from the circumstantial activities. That knowing factor is Brahman. In other words, the quality of knowing belongs to the living entities and as the supreme soul. The quality of knowing belongs to the living entities and to the supreme soul. That the living entity can also experience the activities of dreams and wakefulness. In both the stages, the knower is unchanged but is qualitatively one with the Supreme Brahman. Okay, let's repeat. If one's dreams
If one's dreams
during sleep
during sleep
are merely
are merely
subject matters
subject matters
witnessed by the super soul,
witnessed by the super soul,
how can the living entity
how can the living entity
who is different from super soul
who is different from the super soul
remember the activities of dreams?
remember the activities of dreams?
The experiences of one person
The experiences of one person
cannot be understood by another.
cannot be understood by another.
Therefore, the knower of the facts,
Therefore, the knower of the facts,
the living entity
the living entity
who inquires
who inquires
into the incidents
into the incidents
manifested in dreams and wakefulness
manifested in dreams and wakefulness
is different from the circumstantial activities.
is different from the circumstantial activities.
That knowing factor is Brahman.
That knowing factor is Brahman.
In other words,
In other words,
the quality of knowing
the quality of knowing
belongs to the living entities
belongs to the living entity
and to the Supreme Soul.
and to the Supreme Soul.
Thus, the living entity
Thus, the living entity
can
can
uh, also experience
also experience
the activities of dreams and wakefulness.
the activities of dreams and wakefulness.
In both the stages,
In both the stages,
the knower is unchanged,
the knower is unchanged,
but is qualitatively one
but
with the
is
Supreme Brahman.
qualitatively one with the Supreme Brahman.
Okay, perfect. In knowledge, the living entity is qualitatively one with the Supreme Brahman, but the quantity of the Supreme Brahman is not the same as that of the living entity, who is part of Brahman. Because the living entity is Brahman in quality, he can remember the past activities of dreams and also know the present activities of wakefulness. Okay. Hmm. So, big translation. Om Ajnana Timrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Sarupa Damodar Swami Namini Namasa Bhaktamanaya Manipurudbhavaya Cha Srila Prabhupada Lasatwani Pracharina Gaite Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namne Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Jai Ganta Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. So here, uh, Lord is speaking to Chitraketu, the king Chitraketu. So as we are going through this chapter and previous chapters, uh, Chitraketu had a big family. Uh, lot of uh, lot of people, but there was no children. So one son came, and then he died. When he was basically poisoned. So then he got very morose, uh, very very down. So because he was missing it, and after a lot of difficulty praying, after a lot of this, he got it, and then he again lost it, lost him. So then by the mercy of uh, his master, Narad Muni Angira, they came and gave him directions about the fact of life. So those who can get this fact about life instead of getting lost in life are very fortunate people, actually, very fortunate. And hopefully we are all are included in that, because we have a chance, we have a mercy to get this knowledge. Majority of the section here born on this planet and others even, uh, this question doesn't arise. Why this life? Why this death? And person becomes busy in everyday life as if there is a real thing. And then when he loses things, that time he gets worried. And in this temporary world, one thing is fixed, that you have to lose things. This is permanent. Things are temporary, but one thing is permanent, that you have to lose. That is fixed. Somehow or other you have to lose, whatever it may be. Whether it is your father, whether your son, whether your wife, your husband, or your child, or your material non-living possessions, or anything, relations. Losing is fixed here. So, so an intelligent person should inquire and then take action accordingly. That why losing is so fixed here. Generally, when one is lost in normal life, he doesn't inquire. Sometimes some very strong difficulty comes, that also gives impetus, a prompt, uh, to, to inquire why this life is like this. Why the closest person of my own life is saying like this, or doing like this, or gone like this. So these are also blessing in disguise. So then he left, and the son left, and that's how the Narad Muni, like he has been a well-wisher of everybody, he gave the knowledge that what you are lamenting for, what you are running after, these things are bound to separate. Then why you are aspiring for these things? Basically, lesson for all of us. Very good lesson, very good knowledge, eye-opening uh, message, teaching. So by his mercy, his directions, and he went into the practices, training, and then Lord is appear, and then Lord is speaking in these verses. Uh, so the idea is that one has to wake up. Uh, one cannot remain sleeping whole life, running after things which are bound to finish, bound to be separated. Why it is so? Because all the things which we plan, have, acquire, or want to acquire, all are connected to this body, and his body is going to finish, sure. In this, there is no theory, there is the fact of life. So then, all his planning, papers, high positions, uh, his high colleagues, his beautiful family members, and his most dearest money, uh, all these are bound to be separated, and certainly he will feel pain, because as you see, as you have a whole life, you have put your energy towards something which is bound to finish, then certainly you will feel very disturbed and restless. So that is why this knowledge is, this message, this spiritual culture is so profound, so so beautiful that if one gets a little idea, little understanding, little practice, little training, like Krishna says na, in Bhagavad Gita, in second chapter, a little bit also it can help him from saving on the greatest dangers. The danger is uh, because the sages, the saints, the gurus, the scriptures, the Lord, they are actually why they are there. They are not there to snatch something from us. In many times we think that they are there, oh, they are stretching my material life, they are stretching my happiness, they are stretching my this, taking away. No, no. They are want to take away your lamentation, which you are bound to get. You are getting already every day, and uh, you will get more. So these people, the spiritual family, the culture, the knowledge, the training, is to take away our lamentation, which is uh, which is sure here in this world because of separation of living and non-living things, and the relationships, very close relationships, but bound to separate. So they are the devotees, the Vaishnavas, the Guru, the Lord, the Scripture. They are our greatest well-wishers. Uh, they teach us the real thing and take away our unhappiness, our lamentation, our hankering after things which have no meaning, almost no meaning. Some meaning you can say, okay, body has to live, so some meaning is there. But then majority should go for things. So like this, if one understand, then understanding is not sufficient enough. One has to act in that understanding. Means the actions. Anything has to finally culminate in action, not just theoretical knowledge. Knowledge is necessary but not sufficient. One has to act, like in mathematics, necessary and sufficient, right? So it is necessary but not sufficient. So one acts in that platform. Means one engages himself in the service of the Lord, service of Sri Guru, service of the Vaishnavas. Then gradually his heart will be cleaned up, which is aspiring for unnecessary things. You aspire for unnecessary things and then you get unnecessary unhappiness, unnecessary lamentation. Why then go to in this unnecessary cycle? It is a very common sense. People are, it is very simple intelligence, it doesn't require you to become, one required to become a double PhD or it is very simple common sense. So if one cannot understand, that means howsoever big he is intellectually intelligent, he is full number one, completely full. So that is the version of our scriptures, Bhagavatam. So to act in that, to act means to undergo the process of devotional journey. Then he will be relieved from unnecessary aspiring things for which are bound to separate. Uh, and he will be relieved, and on one side, on the side, he'll get a tremendous joy, happiness, uh, tremendous happiness. Uh, because when he connects to something which will last forever, uh, means basically going to his ground state, like electron in modern science, right? You may get excited in different areas, but finally when you are in ground state or stable state or equilibrium, right? Whatever way you say, physics, chemistry. So similarly, when the living entity, means all of us, when get situated in our ground state of serving the Lord, then we become very peaceful. very happy, very jolly. Even in the midst of so-called difficulties surrounding us, material difficulties. Because you know their position, you know their limits, you know their uh, what they are good for, how much they are good for, you know their value. So in spite of all this, you become very jolly, happy, and positive, and then carry on in your service. That way, uh, life becomes a constant inspiration, uh, movement. So here, the Lord is saying about dreams uh, that how one can distinguish. So, well, dream is a big mystery. In a big mystery in modern science, also dream is a mystery. Last 500 years, there's no. This is one of the questions of understanding what is dream. What actually is one of the state of consciousness, but what is consciousness is also not known. What to say about dream. So, idea is that by any of these processes or any of these understanding, one can come to the conclusion that there is a supreme Lord behind things. So, for example, I don't understand what is dream, and I am dreaming from last 40 years, or 50 years, or 30 years. Or modern science is all scientists, everybody is dreaming also for 500 years, right? Everybody is dreaming. So, but we don't understand it. So that means somebody there above my head, above me. It's very simple common sense. So one can come to the conclusion that there is Supreme Lord finally. I am trying to understand a tiny phenomena in this universe, and that Lord is, that means there is some definitely above me. And I put my whole life and life after life to get that phenomena, and still I will never understand it fully, that phenomena. So who is behind all this phenomena? It's a very common, simple sense. So similar, so like this, one can come to the conclusion and then take action. Take action means engage himself, minimize your material connection, your material engagement. Not you cannot make it zero because material body is still there, and we are still in material world. We are not gone out there. So we cannot zero it, but we can minimize it. We can use our intelligence, like we use our intelligence how to accumulate this material aspect. We can use the same intelligence to minimize it, like pravritti and nivritti. When intelligence is afflicted with matter in wrong consciousness, you try to increase your material things, I mean material relationships, material papers, material positions. Same intelligence, you can use it to minimize it so that you can maximize spiritual engagement. Maximize your sevas to the Supreme Lord. So that one wakes up unnecessarily, otherwise unnecessarily, just unnecessarily person suffers unnecessarily. So this knowledge, this training, this education uh, is priceless, and by the mercy of the Shukdev Goswami, our previous acharyas, our guru, we are getting this. So we are unlimitedly grateful to them, indebted to them. Uh, and we pray that we can wake up and live up to their standards, up to their directions, up to their instructions, up to their desires. That way, we can become source of not only happiness for ourselves, we can also become instrument in helping thousands of people which are unnecessarily unhappy, unnecessarily suffering. Like Chitketu Maharaj, unnecessarily worried. The sun, nothing going to help him by coming or going. Unnecessarily worried about it. So the sage, Narad Muni, they come and help. And then, uh, like that, same as all of our duty in the parampara. Same parampara is the Narad Muni parampara from Vyasadeva, same parampara. So we do these activities, and that will help us and help thousands of others out there uh, to become really happy and not to run after unnecessary things and unroll lamentation. So, so like this, and also in this by dream one can learn a lot actually. One is that one can come to the point of the Supreme Lord, that's the primary. Then one can also question, who is dreaming? A table doesn't dream, or a computer doesn't dream, and who is dreaming? So you can come to the conclusion, well, there's something beyond dreams, beyond these material activities, the spirit. Uh, so that spirit, the soul or the Supreme Lord, so that can also one can come to the conclusion very easily, because who wants to know? Like here it is said, who wants to know, right? Who is that person who is wanting to know? The knowledge means this tendency of knowing. This is also interesting question. One can question it, and also it can serve as a hint, or to use the word proof, may not be proof or whatever. Soul means why you want to know. Who is the person who wants to know? A table is sitting here, but he doesn't want to know why things are like this. But why you want to know? What is there in your DNA that you want to know things? Where is the question of knowing coming? So there's something beyond with normal atoms and molecules who wants to know or understand. The very word understand, I want to understand this, I want to understand that. Why you want to understand? Why at all? From where this tendency you have got, understanding tendency? So that one will come, this chit, this consciousness or knowledge or understanding is a fundamental property of the soul. So one can easily come to that conclusion. And also from dream one can learn, well, I should not dream. That also one can learn. Means I should come out of this dreaming, unnecessary dreaming about things in this world. So to wake up from dream, one can learn how to wake up. Wake up from this dreaming state of sleeping state. Sleeping means getting lost in this matter, this material world. So that is called sleeping. This is very much used in our scriptures, many places all over, about dreaming and sleeping. It means dreaming basically kind of sleeping. So as to wake us up and uh, and rise and awake that about the reality and about our connection with the Lord, and thereby taking the practical steps for doing that. Not that you stop there. So unless you take action and undergo the training, it is not possible to realize this knowledge. You cannot just read like normal modern education. You read it, and one has to realize. Realization will come by practicing, by training, undergoing practical application of it. Then only, because each individual has a specific conditioning. So when you go undergo a training, undergo a activity, practical activity, then conditioning will you will come out. Uh, Theoretical is a general framework which one should understand, one should know, and then one has to undergo also. That way, a beautiful outcome will come out by undergoing patiently, with very lot of patience, nicely. Uh, Different people will take different time. Everybody will have a different time because different amount of conditioning is there, different amount of thickening of layers are there. So different people different take time, but they will definitely come out. Everybody will come out one day. That is sure. this process is powerful enough. How much time? That depends on that person, sincerity and his conditioning. So I think we'll stop here for today. Uh, this much for now, because the living at remember, yeah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj ji. Dandavat for this.
By something
Yeah,
is come here.
there is a question by
Okay,
Dheeraj.
so Jai Gantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Anybody has any questions or comments can share, and our Maharajis can want to share more wisdom, they can share.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Maharaj ji.
Haribol, Sanatan, you are there?
Hare Krishna Maharaj ji. Mike. I mean, Hare Krishna
What happens? Am I not listening the
Maharaj ji.
voice or
Yeah.
Sanatan not there?
Yes Maharaj ji. Maybe.
What happened?
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Maharaj ji.
Hare Krishna, right. I think my
Yeah.
speaker phone got, I can hear now.
Yes Maharaj ji. Thank you. Thank you for this wonderful class. Yes. There are two questions. One is there in the chat.
Ah.
So by dream here, do we mean dream, a phenomenon in our daily sleep in literal sense, or material life is metaphorically being addressed as dream? So what is the meaning of dream that here it is pointed at?
Oh, yeah. Basically, both are being taught here. It is simply referring, yeah, our dreams. It is saying, na, if one dream during sleep are merely subject matters witnessed by the super soul. How? So it is talking about our definitely daily dreams. You see, for understanding deep things, you don't require big things. Actually, things are there already in front of our eyes. Only we are sleeping. Like, you can see the phenomena around you, and from there you can very simply come to the conclusion. We are full of phenomena every day, every minute. And dream is one of them. So Lord is describing here about the dream, simple dreams which you every day do. By that phenomena, you can come to understanding that there is Supreme Lord. There is a soul there. By that simple phenomena which every day do. Similarly, every day, every minute, with the phenomena we are full of. Like, we see our act of seeing. What is this act of seeing? How we see? It is not. It is just not photon coming and retina falling on retina. There is much more there. What is the act of seeing? By simple phenomena, you can come to the conclusion about soul, about God. Everyday phenomena. Uh, then, how we walk. Walking is a big mystery in modern science. How we walk. It is so many cells are being coordinated through nervous system and in the brain and the mind, which we don't know what is mind in modern science. So, this is a mystery. So everyday simple phenomena which we undergo every day without worrying can give us hints, indication, directions, guidelines, guide about the deepest thing close to our heart, means the Supreme Lord. That is the idea. So Lord is talking about very simple phenomena, dream here, which we undergo. Clear?
I hope so, Maharaj ji. Yeah. So There is a question by our Balramji. Balramji, please.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Danut Pranam.
Hare
Very,
Krishna.
very nice.
Hare Krishna.
Do you hear me? I think
Yeah, we
my...
can hear you well.
Okay. Yeah, my question is, who is the cause behind the dreaming? Because, I mean, this is important because, I mean, again, we can ask, in dream, whatever we do, are they counted as karma? And it seems it's counted because we get experience, isn't it? So that's why the question is very important. Who is behind the dream? And if we are doing karma in dream also, then I mean, unnecessarily we are, or unknowingly we are dragged towards some other direction, isn't it? So,
Balramji, you are very intelligent.
no, Maharaji, your Asirvad. Yeah,
No,
please.
you see, the Lord is very merciful. He is not a very wrong person, or he is not a very cunning man like all of us. He is very merciful. He will not put things by giving us unknowingly putting us in trouble. He can never do that. We are actually we are the cause for all the happiness and distress which we undergo. Lord is not at all really the cause. He only facilitates. Like a father would always, whenever you think of God, at least if you cannot think of very high philosophy, you can at least think of him as a father. Minimum, that is bare minimum. Bare minimum. So, of course, Kali Yuga, Kali Yuga, even fathers, he have bad relationships. This was not supposed to be expected, but so in any case, the idea is that the cause, in a sense, that we are the cause of our actions, and dream does not create a karma. Karma, we do karma, and that impressions in the mind, they come in the dream, because our modern theory of action, which we have learned and understood in physics, is very incomplete. When you say action, and all these problems come because our education, the training is very, very incomplete. When we define an action, how we define action in physics? Work into work is what is that? Work, right? Force into distance, something like that. This action definition of action is incomplete. There is not this assumes that there is only physical action. Actually, there is a psychological action also. There is a mental action, means mind. So first action happens in the level of mind. Actually, before that, for down the line, there is further thing, means the soul desires, and then things happen in the mind, which you can see how you plan. I will do such and such, and then you take a physical action. So action is not just the physical; there is a mental part also involved before even physical. So, uh, so, so whatever actions we do, there are mental impressions are there. So these impressions, they form the content of the dream. So but then they don't form the uh, part of the karma, the reaction. They are already the kind of impressions which we are already doing it. So we don't get reaction for the dream, but we are not getting any karma from the dream. uh, so we are the cause, but then but the arrangement, as per our desire, arrangement is made by the Lord. How? So the material energy, using this material cosmos. And in the material cosmos, there are devatas, there are CO, there is a Brahmaji, and there is all this big arrangement is there. So I am the cause. Arrangement is made by the Lord. through the agency of this material nature, which includes all the demigods, headed by Brahmaji. Uh, so that is the idea behind these things.
Maharaji,
Mm.
so let's say,
Mm.
maybe, I don't know if I can tell. Okay, so let's say sometimes what happens in the night, because of the dream, Brahmacharya is lost. Yeah.
What is that?
So Brahmacharya is lost. Let's say, so that's a kind of karma, isn't it? So
no, it's not karma. Here karma means
because we suffer because of that.
true.
Isn't it?
That thing has already happened before. Means, of course, you can say they are That is why the physical and the psychological, they are back and forth linked. Means, both side arrows. Means, when you do a good physical work, right? When you do a helping others or cultivate knowledge, similarly, your thoughts become very good. It helps this side, right? So you start eating prasadam, right? And you start serving devotees, Vaishnavas. Then, Guru Maharaj, can we say it is reaction of yeah, means because these impressions have already come in your mind because of the actions already before. So yeah, somebody is saying here, our Damodar, right? So we can say like that also. So like this, you have a physical action, and then it affects the mind, right? That's how there is a process of. That's how the process of purification of you do devotional service, which are physical actions, but then you purify the mind, the consciousness, right? Same way, other way around also. So when your mind gets purified, your thoughts are good, then your action also comes out that way good. So in this way, we can say that they are back and forth. But then to put it that as a as a karma, which is not uh, good proposition. Got some idea?
Okay, Maharaji, that's okay. But still, I feel it can be karma because mind is active there, and we can do karma by mind also, isn't it?
Yes, in karma, mind is involved, no doubt about it. But then, if you say that a dream, I did the karma, this I don't know what exactly how you are meaning by karma. Let's
Yeah,
put it
Maharaji,
completely.
maybe. Hare Krishna.
Ah,
Yes. So can we take two cases like in which there is a dream where only mind is involved, and there is a dream in which mind is involved, and even some physical change is also happening, as our Balramji is saying. So how in both the cases we can understand?
well, the dream is not easy thing to understand. First of all, because big brains are trying to understand from 500 years in modern science, and we don't understand it. So it's not so easy to understand. Uh, but we can get some hints, some inspiration, some guiding things. That's all. Too much may be beyond the capacity of people like us to understand it. Even very advanced people also not so easy to fully understand these different states of consciousness, because these get very complex more and more as you get deeper and deeper, because material things, uh, you know first of all will have no end, and second of all they will get very complex in terms of what you are looking for. In that sense, means when one wants to look in terms of physics of phenomena, it becomes very complex. So it will have limitations of understanding, but yes, if one can is open area of research, one can try to comprehend it, understand it, but will definitely will soon feel the limitations, soon see the limitations of comprehension of this. So we can go to some extent, but beyond may not be possible. And best is intelligent one should come out with the conclusion about the Supreme Lord. That will be real output. Otherwise, it may be too much engaging with very less output, and life will be gone. Uh, this this phenomena, this material nature means, I mean to say, as you get deeper, the partial differential equation which you are looking for becomes higher order and higher order, and it will be very difficult for you to solve even using the complex computers. In that sense, I am saying that way, in that to give you a little idea. So material phenomena are gets very complex at more and more. Like for example, the working of our intelligence, you will not be possible to really understand it using the physics. Mind also we don't understand, but intelligence becomes almost incomprehensible in terms of physics. So what to say of consciousness, which is a property of the soul, is going to be a almost unreachable for physics. But of course, research minds have a open area to work on and satisfy the as much as one can. Best is to come to the conclusion beyond these material limits, which is about the Supreme Lord. Then your research is meaningful, outcome is meaningful, and search is meaningful. So that much I can say.
Yeah, thank you, Maharaji. Very, very nice. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Okay.
Krishna. Yeah, Maharaji, there is one more question, so shall we go for it?
Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, Shyam Chandra Prabhuji, please.
Oh,
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Shila Shripad Maharaj, Jai Shila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, bro. Happy
Very
to
nice to hear your wonderful class,
No,
and it was kindling a lot of my subtle senses.
really? I hope in positive direction, huh?
I also hope the same.
No, we
Okay,
are
so
foolish as ever.
so actually, after hearing all this, deliberations and discussions, this thought came to my mind. So I want to check whether this is correct understanding. Can we say this way that at a higher conscious state, there is no difference. There's no much difference between the subtle senses and the gross senses. I mean this way that we have read in some scriptures that sometimes elevated souls, when in a very pure state, in the dream when they offer some hot milk, and then they find that when they wake up the finger is burnt. So which means that the higher state, the subtle senses and the gross senses are almost like dovetail completely, whereas at a lower sense, lower consciousness, when it's not purified, there seems to be a totally big gap between the subtle and the gross senses in terms of therefore the activities, even though might be taking place in the dream, but they are not manifested. So therefore the karmic reaction may not be there. But when we purify, we go more and more towards the purified process, then there is no difference in the dovetailing is so much that a dreaming is like actual. So it's actually taking place. So this is what I'm getting some understanding in this manner. So is it correct understanding, or it is just my own speculation? I don't know.
This one of the word which might be confusing also is the word dream. Because the pure, like the examples which we are sharing, na, the very elevated souls, like serving in the dream, actually, which is kind of not a dream. So that's why I want to be a little bit careful when we use the word dream, because that, otherwise some devotees will say, well, I have done my seva in the dream. so, so, well, the person is already not interested, and then you give him an option, I have done my seva in the dream, then it's gone, everything is gone, so there's no hope. So the dream word, we are using in a very general way, that the way we sleep. But then when that, like you said, uh, the advanced souls, advanced Vaishnavas, when their consciousness is very high, yes, it is true that their the senses get purified, the subtle senses, which includes the mind too, of course, the king of the sensual senses. So then uh, our the activities can be, then activities also get purified, that the gross senses also get purified. So those things are connected, certainly, but to be very clear and safe, in our ordinary position of today, of all of us, we want to make it very clear distinction. That is why I'm stopping there. Means I don't want to go like a continuum. I'm still putting as a discrete things, two separate things, so that we come out of this conditioning. Otherwise, certainly we may misuse this thing. Yeah, it is true. Actually, it is true that all these states are very deeply. Psychology is one. Means the whole internal, the subtle things are connected. It is not all separate things. But then we have to keep a separation so that we get liberated before we talk about these higher things. Otherwise, we may mix up and get lost again back here. You get my point?
Yes, absolutely.
So that is why, yes, it is true that when one gets liberated, means his mind is fully attached to the Lord, and he is not aspiring anything of this world. He is fully purified. There is no hankering for anything of this world, including glorification of his name, including his position, including his relationships, including everything. So then, those states are very high states actually. So unnecessarily we will create complication in bringing them in our ordinary uh, state of day-to-day life.
Mm,
We are very simple and ordinary people, and these advanced people are very advanced.
mm,
We cannot even imagine. So see where we are. You can see, very simple to check where we are, where my mind goes in 24 hours whole day. You can check. Every soul can check. At least devotees can very easily see, right? Where my mind goes whole 24 hours. So one can see whether I am liberated or not. And if I am not liberated, I should not too much try to catch those states in this situation. Otherwise, I
mm,
may get unnecessary trapped in.
mm,
You get my
mm.
point?
Yeah.
So that's why we want to make it very safe life
Mm,
to cross this journey from here to there.
mm.
And naturally, many things will be clear there.
Right.
Is it okay, na?
Yeah, it's perfect. Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Yes, Maharaj. So, shall we conclude or?
Yeah, okay. We conclude for today. Uh, yeah. It is a big area. So The point is that we should come out of the material dream first